Today we wanted to talk to you about opal. And opal is the only gemstone that can have every color of the rainbow in a single stone. And I think Pliny the Elder said it best, for in them you shall see the living fire of the ruby, the glorious purple of the amethyst, the sea green of the emerald, all glittering together.
The most amazing thing about opal is that it's a phenomenal gemstone, and its phenomenon is called play of color. And that's those rolling flashes of color that you see throughout the gemstone.
Opal is formed by silica spheres, and those silica spheres, the stacking or arrangement is what causes that play of color. So if you looked under high magnification, it would be like a bunch of marbles in a shoebox. So if they're all stacked up properly, that's how you get the play of color. And then the size of the spheres is what gives you the different colors. So the largest spheres are red and the smallest spheres are blue with all the other colors in between.
Yeah, and the cool thing is it actually breaks light. So when light enters an opal, it wraps around the sphere and breaks the light into its spectral color.
Compared with your other gemstones that just refract light, it actually breaks it.
Light. Boom! Today we want to cover the 5 types of opal that we sell here at Parlé. The first is called light opal. The second, black. Then we have Boulder, doublet, and Mexican fire opal.
The first 4 types primarily come from Australia, and they come from a sedimentary process. The eastern part of Australia is an ancient seabed, and so that's why you get lots of fossils and opal replacements, which is really cool.
Yeah, we use a lot of those opal fossils in a lot of our pendants and earrings. So you might unknowingly own an opal fossil in one of our pieces of jewelry, which I think is super cool. The 5th opal mentioned is Mexican fire opal, and that opal comes from, well, Mexico, and it was formed in a volcanic process, different from the Australian opal.
The first type of opal is what we call light opal. Some people call it white opal, but we like to call it light because not all of it is white in the higher qualities. It comes primarily from southern Australia, especially from Coober Pedy, which in Aborigine means white man in a hole. And the light opal has a lighter base color, and it's the most traditional.
The next is black opal, and the most famous source of black opal is Lightning Ridge, Australia. We call black opal the queen of all opals because she commands the highest price tag in her finest form. Now that black base color is due to iron in the opal, which gives a nice, beautiful dark base color to reflect that gorgeous play of color off.
The third type is Boulder opal, which primarily comes from Queensland, Australia. And Boulder opal is still attached to its host rock, which is ironstone, which is like a petrified sandstone. And it often has an undulated surface and often shows the host rock face up on the stone, which is okay, but not as desirable as a full opal face. It is probably the most difficult of the opals to cut because the seams of opal are quite thin, and the opal cutters call it chasing the fire. So that's why you often have that uneven surface.
Opal doublet is an assembled gemstone. And so what we mean by that is we take a very thin slice of opal that would be unusable on its own and affix it to an ironstone backing. So what it does is it mimics black opal and Boulder opal, giving that opal a really nice base color. You can usually tell the difference because it's a very thin, flat gemstone. And what this does is it gives your customers a great entry price point into the world of opal.
The last type of opal that we carry at Parlé is Mexican fire opal, which typically has a base color that is yellow, red, or orange. The red is often called cherry opal. The other interesting thing about Mexican fire opal is that it is formed by volcanic rather than sedimentary process, and therefore only about 30% of it has play of color. The rest just has a nice red or orange color just all on its own.
So just a few facts about the history of opal. Opal was really popularized by the Romans about 2,000 years ago, and at this time it was mined in Hungary. Now those mines have since been depleted, and in modern times, opal was really popularized by Queen Victoria. Now she loved the gemstone, and during her reign there just happened to be a large discovery of opal in Australia.
Another question that we often get asked is care of opals, and the thing that always comes up is, should I oil my opals?
No.
Please don't oil your opals. Opals generally aren't porous, and so all that happens is that you get that oil layer on the surface of the opal, and then it collects dust, which dust is primarily quartz, which is harder than opal, and so it just scratches and abrades the surface of the opal. So for care, if you want to clean your opal, just a soft toothbrush and soapy water. And then for storing it, just store your jewelry like you would everything else in a jewelry box is great. The only time with oil that would even make sense is if you had like loose opals and you wanted to put them in like in a safety deposit box. But even then, water works just fine for the most part, and most people don't have loose opals that they need to store. So that's how to take care of your opals.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into our presentation on opal today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, you can always check out our podcast, Gem Junkies. Jonathan and I have a little podcast that talks about all different gemstones. You can also check out our website, www.parlegems.com, or you can check out our Instagram or Facebook pages at Parlé Gems. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.